Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hopefully you are having a great day and a fantastic holiday season. It's snowing right now as of 4 or 5 o'clock in. I live on the East Coast on a mountain, and so it is snowing. It's winter, right? Like we're in the winter right now. I know it technically doesn't start till I want to say the 23rd, but we're in the winter time. Anyway, this is it. This is the video I've been waiting to make for a long time. This is the deep dive into Sonic Frontiers story. Now, before we get into this, let me say a couple of things. Number one, this game is still a 10 out of 10. Number two, this is the second best game I've ever played. The best game I ever played, and it's still the best game, was Sonic Adventure 2. Now, this game isn't quite Sonic Adventure 2, but it is so close that it's frightening. Like, it's almost scary how close it is to Sonic Adventure 2. And that brings me so much joy as a Sonic fan. And then lastly, I've said this in multiple videos, this game is a love letter to Sonic fans. Across the world, this is a love letter. Okay. With that being said, let's get into the Sonic Frontiers Deep Dive, the Story Edition. Okay, so Sonic Frontiers starts out with Eggman. We find out that Eggman discovers these ruins, and he actually finds a way to activate these ruins. Not knowing what they do, he is sucked into cyberspace. Now, Eggman is sucked into a different section of cyberspace where Sonic and the others aren't, right? Like, he's actually sucked into cyberspace, kind of the same place where Amy, Tails, Knuckles are, right? He's sucked into a place where he's able to freely move around and communicate with Sage. Knuckles discovers the same things that Eggman discovered. In fact, it leads him to, I believe, the exact same place. And then Knuckles, in the prologue, now this is the video I did with that prologue that Sega gave us, the Sonic team, with Knuckles discovering it. That's what happens. Knuckles also gets sucked into this. He fights some enemies, and then he ends up getting put into cyberspace in the same spot as Eggman. Now, in cyberspace, they're not physically next to each other, but they're in the same dimension, right? They're in cyberspace. So once we have that concluded, the Sonic team ends up getting sucked into cyberspace as well. They were discovering these islands anyway, right? Because they saw that these islands, for some reason, have a connection with the Chaos Emeralds, and we have no idea why. So the Chaos Emeralds were connecting with this island, and they decide, hey, let's go check it out. As they go to this island, they get sucked into cyberspace. Sonic is the only one who does not get sucked into cyberspace, presumably for a reason. Now, after they get sucked into cyberspace, Sonic is left by himself in this strange new world that he has no idea how anything works. This is literally the first time Sonic has been on the Starfall Islands. Now, he starts to discover a bunch of different things. He hears a giant voice in the sky telling him to do things. And he also discovers Sage, the same person who imprisoned Knuckles and presumably the rest of the Sonic team. Now, Sonic he starts off like learning about all the new enemies on this island. He learns about what this island, not really what it means, but what it holds, I would say. Like, he finds out the gadgets, the portals, the vault keys, and then he starts to understand that this island is somehow connected to cyberspace, although it takes him a little bit to, figure that part out. But he starts to understand that, this island is a little bit different from what he was probably expecting. And then he ends up finding Amy, who is frozen in cyberspace, not able to perceive or talk or do anything. She's literally just frozen in cyberspace. So Sonic ventures around the Starfall Islands. This island, I believe, was Kronos Island. And he starts venturing around, and then he ends up finding her memory tokens. Now, the memory tokens play a huge role in this story. Each memory token that you collect holds a piece of Amy's actual memories, and giving them to Amy unlocks her personality back, right? She basically isn't a zombie anymore. She has her personality, even though physically she's still trapped in cyberspace. So Sonic collects all the memory tokens and feeds them to Amy, and Amy starts to understand what the situation is and helps Sonic hunt down the emeralds, because Sonic has an enemy to deal with, and that is the Titan. So each island in Sonic Frontiers has a Titan, Each Titan is the way that you unlock, like, the next island. You have to beat that Titan, and beating that Titan is presumably a really good thing for Sonic too, because as far as he knows, that's the only way to save his friends. Although he's being told that's actually not how you're going to save your friends. You're doomed by Sage. And Sage plays a huge role in this story, so that's more to come, though. Anyway, Amy starts to help Sonic find all of these Chaos Emeralds. Although she can't physically touch them, she can help locate them and then regroup with Sonic eventually. Now, the part that gets interesting here is that Amy ends up meeting some of the Coco on the island. I want to say they're called Coco. And these Coco are basically little stones, right? They're stone statues in Sonic's world, but they actually are people, right? They're people who used to live on this island and all of these islands in the first place. This is their home. Now, they're trapped and stuck as these, like, statues, right? Like, this is, they're kind of like, they're kind of stuck in the world that they shouldn't be in. You know, you can almost say that these Coco are not even really supposed to be alive, but they're being forced to be alive. Like, they've already died, and they're being forced to be alive as stone statues and just relive all of the regrets that they had. And Amy finds this out. And Amy ends up deciding to help the Coco however she can, but helping the Coco involves obviously Sonic helping them. And the first Coco that we meet is a mother who is looking for her children that are lost. And Sonic is going to help her find her children. Now, the beautiful part about this is that we finally get some details on the Coco as we do this. Like, we get details on the Coco and on the backstory of the island. So Sonic helps find the Coco. Right, he finds the mother, and then he helps find the children, and she has a lot of children, and her children end up reuniting with her thanks to Sonic and Amy's help. And there's a moment where the Coco and all of them, right, the mother and all of the children, end up hugging and taking a second to be together, and then their spirits are released. I mean, it's like they were released from a prison, right? Like, the mother Coco's spirit is literally released, and she's finally at peace. It's like she is freed from this prison sentence of being alive, because as I said, I'm pretty sure she was dead, and she was forced to live even without her children, which she had no idea what happened to them, because she had no idea what happened to her. She was turned into a stone somehow. Anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful moment. The Coco end up seeing, their mother's spirit go into the air, and it's a beautiful moment, and you can tell it hit Amy really hard because she has to take a second to deal with it. Now, other than that, which was a beautiful side story, Amy helps find all of the emeralds, and then Sonic finally gets the Titans, right? He finally gets to fight a Titan. And now the thing is, Sonic had to do a lot to get these emeralds. They're scattered across the islands, and they're put in these imprisonment camps. Like, I'm not sure exactly how to describe them, but they're basically, right now, like you can see on the screen, they're basically chambers that channel the Chaos Emerald's power and contain the Emerald's power as well. Now, they were meant to imprison the Chaos Emeralds. That's the biggest thing you need to know. This island somehow is built for imprisoning the Chaos Emeralds. It's like they didn't, most people want to use the Emerald's power for whatever, right? Like, they want to use it for evil, for good, whatever the case is. This island seems to be trying to keep them, like, shut, right? Like, in a glass case, or in this case, in cyberspace. And so Sonic ends up going through the portals and going through stages of the past to collect these keys that would allow him to unlock these vaults, right? These Chaos Vaults. Now, Sonic, like I said, ends up getting all the emeralds, and then he fights the Titan. He not only defeats the Titan, but he releases a lot more. He finds out much more about the island because number one, he finds all the Keiko. He finds Sage again, has dialogue with Sage, finds out a little bit more about cyberspace, and then he finds out that he's not done. So Amy is still stuck in cyberspace. She is still trapped, and Sonic tells her, the only way I'm going to be able to save you is if I save everybody else. And he starts to worry a little bit about Tails, and then obviously his next, worry would be, I guess, Knuckles. But yeah, Sonic tells Amy that the only way he can save her is if he goes to save everybody else. Amy, while, playfully saying, go ahead, go save everybody, just don't keep me waiting. But she also says something interesting. She talks about love, and she talks about how she kind of wants to just go and do her own thing, right? She says, I want to go travel and just share my love with the world, and I don't know where that's going to lead me, but, you know, I won't be gone forever. I'll be back, but I just have to go my own way, basically, right? I'm paraphrasing, but she basically tells Sonic she wants to go her own way after all this is done. Sonic, being the understanding Chad that he is, says, yeah, of course, you can do that, and I'll be rooting for you no matter what's next. Whatever you do, I'll always be by your side, even if I'm not physically by your side. And it's a really beautiful moment because Sonic and Amy are together. They are a couple. This is actually confirmed on a Twitter account, I believe by Sega or one of those accounts. But yeah, this is actually canon. Like, they are together. So this is a really beautiful moment. Next off, we have the island of Ares Island, and this is where Knuckles resides. Now, Sonic, in the same fashion, after beating the Titan, flies over to this island in Supersonic, and then as he lands, the emeralds scatter, and he has to find them all over again. He also discovers that this is where Knuckles is being held, and this island is more deserty, more Grand Canyon-like, and so, yeah. Now, on this island, same thing happens. Knuckles ends up befriending some of the Keiko, and he finds out that these Keiko on this island were soldiers. And they are living with, so the mother on Amy's island was living with regret and fear because she didn't know where her children was. Well, these guys are living in regret because they feel like soldiers that are defeated, that they gave up on the battle because they couldn't handle the enemy. And Knuckles, who is a warrior of his own right, he feels for them because they tried their best and they came up short. So not only will Knuckles also help Sonic discover where the Chaos Emeralds are, but he also wants to help these guys finish the battle, finish their mission assignments, and at least be at peace knowing that they did their job in the war that took place a long time ago. Now, I'm going to get to what this Keiko War means because there actually was a physical war, but I kind of want to just go through the biggest parts first, and then we can talk about how this all connects. Because each time you do this, right, with Amy and the mother and with Knuckles and these soldiers, you get to see a cutscene from the past of these Chaos Emerald beings, right? I forget the names of them, but I'll show you in a second. Anyway, Sonic agrees to help, and he starts to help them with their weapons, starts to help them basically complete their mission as long and you know, at the same time he's finding these emeralds. Sage is also warning Sonic that he is not going to survive. What is going to happen to Sonic, he is going to die. That is what she is saying, straight up. She's saying, it's a shame, you are talented, but there is no chance that you can survive what's to come. And Sonic is saying, listen, why don't you just tell me? I don't even know who you are. I don't even know your name. What is going on? And then she asks him, is it worth dying to save your friends? And he goes, absolutely. If it's for my friends, I'll do anything. Now, that obviously, classic Sonic, right? He would do anything for his friends, and we love to see that. But Sage is starting to learn about Sonic. She's starting to understand how he operates. And she ends up feeling bad because Sonic is a very talented person, but he's going to die, and it's going to be a waste. And that's how she feels at the time. Now, Sonic ends up helping the people of this island, right, of Ares Island, the Keiko, and the Keiko end up completing their mission, helping Sonic actually fight the Titan, because when you do this mission, right, and you help the Keiko, it kind of connects with what goes on the island, and you help Sonic fight against this next Titan. The Keiko end up being released in the same way that the mother did. Their spirits fly into the air, and they are just, the stone statues just lie there, finally at peace, right? And it's a beautiful moment. Knuckles emphasizes with them because he is a warrior. He knows what it's like to lose. He gets it, right? Sonic and Knuckles have a bit of a moment together, and then he tells Knuckles that he's worried about Tails, so he's going to go get them. He's going to go get Tails, and Knuckles reassures him saying, don't worry, Tails is fine. He can definitely take care of himself. But yeah, don't keep me waiting too long as well. So now we get to Tails Island, and Tails Island is full of volcanoes. It is like a volcano island. In fact, it's actually an island that was broken up into smaller islands. And yeah, so Sonic ends up at Tails' island, finds him, collects his memory tokens, and Tails is actually with the engineers that were in this old war with the Keiko, right? And he ends up, obviously, the same thing. He wants to help the Keiko. He wants the Keiko to to feel better about themselves because he relates to the Keiko in a unique way. The one Keiko that he meets is, and I'm going to just keep calling them Keiko. It could be called Coco, but I don't know why I just keep saying Keiko. So forgive me if that's not the way to pronounce it, but I'm just going to keep calling them that. Anyway, he meets the one Keiko that is like, he's an engineer just like Tails, but he feels defeated because he feels like he wasn't good enough and he let everybody down. And Tails ends up feeling like that too. You know, Sonic has been noticing Tails, and what he noticed is, yeah, you know, you're sad, you're beat up, but it's different. It's not like you're sad about the situation. What is it? Tails says that I just feel like you're always carrying me around, right? I'm always a burden to you. You always have to save me. And Sonic says that's nonsense. There's been plenty of times where you've helped me so much that I couldn't have done it without you. And Tails is like, yeah, I guess you're right. When did you become so wise? And that's kind of a theme throughout the game. Knuckles had this too, and I don't believe I talked about it, so let me just quickly recap Knuckles' thing. Knuckles has been alone his entire life, even now. And so, he even said in his little cutscene before he moved to Tails Island, I'm jealous of your lifestyle, Sonic. You get to live free and adventurous. And I wonder what that would have been like for me. And Sonic says, you can still do that. You can still be free and be adventurous. And so, yeah, Tails has the thing where, and Amy, obviously, like I said, she wants to go her own way. Tails wants to go his own way, too. And then Knuckles kind of also wants to go. They all want to go their own way, right? They all want to just leave Sonic. And it's not because of Sonic. It's because of their own issues, I guess. It's kind of like they look at Sonic and they're envious about him, right? They're not envious, but they are, every time they see Sonic, it reflects on themselves what they're missing in their own lives. And so Tails, he wants to be his own man and explore the world and kind of just gain his own strength. Knuckles wants to be free and kind of just enjoy himself for once instead of being a loner. And Amy wants to share her love with the world and just embrace who she is, right? So, like I said, Tails, right, we're still on his island, collects all the emeralds, helps the engineer finally complete the one mission that he was never able to complete, which is kind of like Knuckles' thing, completes the one mission, fixes this weapon, and then the weapon helps Sonic, they find the emeralds, and he fights the Titan. So, now we get to the parts that are, like, insane. So we get to this last island, and this last island is very unique because it's Sage's island, right? You end up collecting Sage's memory tokens. Now, throughout this story, Sage has been popping in and out, telling the Sonic team, basically, you're gonna die. Like, there's no hope for you, you are going to die. But Sonic, defiant as ever, says, if there's even a chance, then I'm gonna forge ahead anyway, right? Whatever the mountain that I have to move, whatever the wall I have to break through, I'm gonna break through anyways, right? Regardless. And she starts to turn, right? Like, she's black and red and gray, but she starts to turn light blue. She starts to experience emotions. Sage hears a conversation of love between Sonic and Tails, and Sonic says, listen, even if you do end up leaving me for a little while, no matter what, I'm proud of you. And if you go your own way, that's fine. I'll always be close enough to you. Like, you'll never be out of my reach, Tails, right? And it's a beautiful brotherly love moment. Sage overhears that, and you can see right here in this gameplay, she starts turning blue. She starts experiencing feelings, right? She starts experiencing love. And that's what she was missing, right? She is an AI, she was created, but she is missing love and feelings, and that is what she is experiencing. Now, I should say, throughout each island, at the end of the boss fight, Sonic ends up taking on this cyber disease, right? It's like he's getting corrupted little by little by freeing his friends. So, at the cost of freeing his friends, he is dying. This disease is killing him. And then by the time he frees Tails and even gets to Tails Island, he's barely able to walk and stand, but he's still forging ahead anyway. So, by the time we get to Sage's Island, Sonic was trapped. He was literally corrupted in cyberspace, frozen like a statue. And the Sonic team, Knuckles and Tails and Amy, they come together and they go... Now, this part, I don't know if there's any clarification on, but they basically they go inside of Sonic. Like they forge themselves into spirits, kind of like what the Keiko were doing, and then they put themselves in Sonic, which frees him from whatever, prison he was in, the cyber corruption. And then he gets to Sage's Island. And once he gets to Sage's Island, he starts to get her memory tokens. He starts to talk to her because the only necessary way to stop this great evil is with Sage and Eggman's help. Eggman is incredibly reluctant, but he helps Sonic anyway, finding a Chaos Emerald. Now, as this is happening, he is learning about Sage. He's talking to Sage, saying, listen, this is how I operate. If there's even a 1% chance to give you hope instead of despair, then I'm going to take that chance anyway, and I won't let you down. And he starts to basically befriend Sage, right? Like, he's becoming friends with Sage. Now, this is happening while Eggman is starting to find the emerald that Sonic needs. Sonic starts to find all of them. He progresses forward and beats the last Titan, only to find out that there is a greater evil out there. And that voice in the sky is that evil. That voice in the sky is the reason the Keiko became Keiko, right? They used to be beings. Like I said, they used to be beings like those chaos, those jelly type beings. I'll show a picture in a second, but yeah, they were all defeated because of that giant voice in the sky. Turns out that giant voice is basically like a planet, and Sonic ends up having to fight the planet. Now, I'm going to skip ahead in this gameplay here because I kind of want to show you. So this is the last boss fight. It's really good. Music was playing. It was awesome. Here, let me see. It was awesome. It was awesome. I actually had my mic on, and so I was like screaming and yelling. I was like, oh my God. So I'm not, I don't want to bother you guys with that. But yeah, this is the last boss fight, the last Titan that you fight. Once you defeat this Titan, you go out to space and you see this is the planet, right? This is the great evil. This is what Sonic has to defeat, is this planet itself. The end. Not sure what the name of this planet is, but he's telling all the Keiko, he took your homeworld. He took your lives. Are you going to let him do it all over again? I need your help. We can end this, please. He goes out into space with Sage. Eggman reveals that Sage is his daughter and asks Sage to be careful, please. But he says it like as she's like going away. Sonic ends up fighting this planet with Sage's help, and this planet ends up being the giant voice. Now, like I said, I'm just covering the like overarching story, and then I'm gonna get into some of the details. But yeah, Sonic is fighting right now. There's this giant beam that shoots out from the planet, and Sage helps Sonic defeat that beam, like block the beam. And then this is really cool. Sage takes Sonic and then baseball throws him to the planet. And then I was wondering what was the goal here, and I actually failed at first because I had no idea what the point was. I was like, why did you just throw Sonic at this planet? Now I realize Sonic is supposed to break this planet. And so on my second turn, I realized that, and now everything goes well now that I know that. So Sonic ends up breaking this planet. And honestly, I'm not sure what happens next. Like, I know the planet basically is a cyber planet, right? And you can tell it's a cyber planet. Look, I'll show you this little gameplay right here too. This is literally Sonic going at the the planet. Wait for it. Bang. So he crashes into this moon, right? It's more like a moon than a planet. And he goes right through it. And now this is where I was a little confused. It starts to basically corrupt itself. It's about to explode. Sage ends up going into the planet, and I'm not sure what exactly she does. This is you can see her. She finally turns blue, and she basically says, please take care of my father. I love him, right? And she's talking about Eggman. The planet explodes, but I believe Sage contains the explosion so that Sonic does not die. Please look after father. Those were her last words, presumably. And then, yeah, that is the end. The planet is gone out of the sky. That moon that was hovering around these islands has no more effect on the Starfall Islands. Cyberspace, the dimensions between, like you can see the Sonic team right here, it's freed, and the dimension, the tear between reality is closed. Sonic did it with Sage's help. Now, here is the crazy part. you can see these are the starfall. These are like this happens throughout the game. You can see these meteor showers like just showering the islands, right? The stars literally falling, the shooting stars falling. This is a beautiful moment. Beautiful moment right here. Eggman is seeing this, and look at him. He's so sad. Eggman is I mean, he just lost his daughter. And Eggman is an evil person, but he just lost his daughter. And he can't even be upset about anybody because his daughter turned out to be the savior of the world. And that is the story of Sonic Frontiers. So that was a mouthful. Wow. Okay. So Sonic Frontiers, that is the basic story, right? You end up seeing so much happening with Sonic and Sage. Sage ends up becoming kind of a part of the Sonic team, right? I mean, she doesn't really meet Knuckles in them like as a good person, but she ends up becoming part of the team and helping Sonic save the literal world because that place was taking over everything, and that being was about to. So that, let me just say this too: that being, that planet, that was actually, there was a being inside of that. There was a monster inside of that, basically, who was recharging its energy to try and come back at full strength, and they destroyed it before it could, which was really, really cool. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, right? These people, which you can see them. This was Sonic Adventure. These chaos beings, I don't know what they're called, but these beings were in the story. These beings are the Keiko, right? When you free the Keiko, you get a cutscene to these beings. And it looks like these beings were actually fighting in a war against that planet that Sonic ended up blowing up, and they lost. And they lost for various reasons. One of the Keiko, ends up saving everybody. And I believe that's how they ended up turning into Keiko, right? They were all going to die, but he sacrifices his life, and then these chaos beings turn into Keiko. That's how I understand it. Now, that aside, every time you beat them, there was a cutscene with just giving you background and dialogue on what happened in that war. It was a very long time ago. And yeah, this ancient technology is incredibly advanced. And that is why, and I believe, by the way, when I said that the islands, because you remember how I said Sonic was attracted to these islands because of the Chaos Emeralds? Well, it's because these Chaos beings had these emeralds protected, right? Like everything that Knuckles does for the Master Emeralds, he protects it, he guards it. That's what these beings were doing with the emeralds, with the actual Chaos Emeralds. But instead, they also found the Master Emeralds, right? But instead, they lost the war, and then the emeralds were now used in a really bad way. Anyway, that is the story of Sonic Frontiers. That is the again, it's not like a perfect breakdown because I'm still I just beat the game like 10 minutes ago, and so I'm just covering the big stuff. There's probably much more lore to come, and I also want to point out a couple of things. So number one, Sonic Frontiers is a continuation of every Sonic game ever. In the game, and this is confirmed by Sega in the game, Sage asks Eggman, why don't you ever work with Sonic? You guys could accomplish so much, right? She says, and then Eggman says, I hate Sonic, yada, yada, yada. And she goes, but look at what you've accomplished together. You even stopped the Ark, right? And she knows about the Ark from Sonic Adventure 2. And he goes, that was just a desperate situation. Like, it was a real, life or death situation. That's the only reason why I worked with him back then. But the point is, this game is a continuation of every single Sonic game that ever happened. There's even a joke. I'm not sure if I said this in another video, but there's a joke where Sage asks Sonic, what's your end goal? And Sonic says, well, I don't know. Sometimes it's a spinning sign. Sometimes it's a giant big old ring that I got to jump through. And that's literally hilarious because after every Sonic stage, it's either a spinning sign or a big ring that he jumps through. That's like another part of the confirmation. This is a continuation of every single Sonic game ever. And that is so cool. That is so amazing. And I love it. Now, last little bit of notes that I have here. So the reason I keep calling it a love letter is because it does feel like it every game, right? Everybody has their favorite Sonic game. Obviously, I'm an Adventure 2 fanboy, and so yeah, I stick by the Adventure series. Some people swear by Sonic Unleashed. Some people swear by Sonic Mania and Sonic Generations. Some people like Forces, believe it or not. Some people like Sonic 06. I actually like Sonic 06. But no matter what game that you prefer, this game has a piece of that game inside of it. It's like they took every previous Sonic game and put a little bit of it into this, right? Into this Sonic Frontiers game, which is incredible because this game was only made by 60 people. So, by the way, Sega, please give more money to the Sonic team so that they can make, a bigger game, because 60 people made this beautiful game. Imagine what more people could do with a bigger budget. Anyway, yeah, this is a love letter, right? To every Sonic fan, no matter which game you liked or which game you didn't, this game has everything for you. There's even some cool stages from previous Sonic games. There was a Sonic Generation stage. They had Metal Harbor from Sonic Adventure 2, White Jungle. They also had a Radical Highway. Like, they had so many different Sonic Adventure 2 callbacks. They had some Sonic, Generations callbacks. They had everything, right? They had a stage, and there's still so much I haven't explored on the Starfall Islands. I officially have, as of recording this video, I have like 60 plus hours on this game. I really took my time with this game because I tried to explore as much as I could. I have 61 hours on this game, a bunch of achievements. I tried to explore as much as I could to like understand as much as I could about the game. There's fishing with Big the Cat, which is really fun. Also helps you progress faster through the story. But yeah, that is my Sonic Frontiers story deep dive, right? Now, it is, again, there's probably some things that you guys will let me know that I didn't even realize, right? And that's the best part about it. The story is so deep that there's going to be things that even I miss, you miss, we all miss, right? So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Sonic Frontier story. I gave this game a 10 out of 10 in my first initial reaction. I'm sticking by that. This game is a 10 out of 10. It wasn't nominated for any Game of the Year nominations, which is absurd. The soundtrack absolutely should have been on there for Game of the Year. This has one of the best soundtracks I've ever seen. And Sonic Frontiers is my second favorite game of all time. And I think I'm comfortable saying that because it gave me so much nostalgia at the end. Just seeing the final battle and right here, seeing the final battle, being supersonic. The boss fights, incredible. There's still much work they have to do. I want to be able to replay these boss fights. But being supersonic, a very deep story, an emotional story that was really gripping. And then at the end, it sets up more Sonic, right? Tails is going to be on his own now. Sonic is going to be on his own. Amy, they're all going to be on their own now, right? They're all going their own ways. And yes, there'll still be a Sonic team, but we have no idea what the future for Tails is. We have no idea what the future for Knuckles is because he wants to be adventurous and have his own life. And we have Tails wants to be his own man. He's always been the little brother to Sonic, but now little brothers wants to leave the nest. And then Amy wants to share her love with the world, maybe take Cream with her and go on a road trip and just, who knows, right? But that is the beauty of Sonic Frontiers. It not only gives you a gripping, deep, emotional story with amazing characters, performances too, by the way, it also sets up the future for Sonic very well. Can't wait to see, hopefully Sage is still alive. Didn't even see Shadow in this game or anybody else, so we'll see what happens there, if there's any DLC. And then on top of that, yeah, the future for Sonic looks bright. The movies are amazing. Sonic Prime looks pretty good so far through the trailers, and Sonic Frontiers is a 10 out of 10. The best Sonic game since Sonic Adventure 2. That's right, I said it. It's not quite, I don't think it's quite there at Sonic Adventure 2. Nothing maybe ever will, but this game was so close, it was frightening. And honestly, thank you to the Sonic team, all the 60 developers that worked on this game. You guys, the talent you guys have is incredible, and it's really special when you can bring together an entire community and have everybody just there's something special about connecting with people through your artwork, and this game truly is artwork to me. So hopefully you guys enjoyed Sonic Frontiers. I know I did. I have 61 hours on this game, and I'm not even close to being done. I'm going to try and 100% this game and get all. And by the way, the Monster Hunter DLC is out now, so definitely go get that. It's free in the store. But yeah, there's a minigame. There's cool armor and stuff. Anyways, I've rambled on too long. that is my Sonic Frontiers deep dive into the story. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will be back with some more gaming content very soon. Peace.